probably the most important video I might even ever do, and it's not one I'd usually do, and it's about exposing someone. An NHS worker who has said she does openly, she says this on social media, false allegations against men to have them put in prison. I'm going to be putting links directly to her social media so you can see it yourselves. And I'm also going to be putting the screenshots up because this is a sickening thing. This girl is an NHS, something we hear all the time, support the NHS, blah, blah, and she openly puts out there, in her words, I have done plenty of things to put men like you in prison when they have not committed crimes. She states this. She claims to work through the prison service for the NHS. She has it all over her wall. Now, how did I come about this woman? I'm going to explain it really quickly so the video doesn't lose its point. So I went on my Instagram today and had a few messages on my inbox. And there's nonsense. When you get a message, it's just nonsense. It's really broken English. So my first point was, what is this person saying? You know, probably foreign, don't speak English, definitely not the first language, and not fluent in it. I clicked her profile and saw it's English woman, NHS nurse, all this stuff. So I was like, right, okay. So I replied back and went, sorry, I don't understand. She goes, what don't you fucking understand? So I realised I'm getting attitude. I said, well, I don't understand anything you've said because it doesn't make sense. She put another weird comment back to me. Again, it doesn't make sense. So I said, you need to wake up, get into the real world, etc., etc. She then does another comment. I thought there's a lot of hate in this woman. Because the next comment, she goes, you've been talking to a juvenile and a minor online and I have the proof. So I said, well, I haven't. So I'd love to see the proof of this. And I want to see where this is coming from, like what it's about. So I start checking her friends in common and I realise there's no friends in common with me. I don't know anyone she knows. No relation with this woman. So I'm like, it's a bit weird because there's a big hatred towards me here. So I'm like, yeah, can you please show me this because it didn't happen. She then tries to mock my animals who have passed away in the past, mentions other stuff, loads of weird stuff. So she just ignores the part about me speaking to this supposed minor and this juvenile and all this. So I'm like, right, okay. And then she does a line, and I will admit I said something very nasty back after she insulted everyone who died in my life, and she goes on a little tangent. She ends it with, you're an angry man who's a steroid abuser with a small penis. Just like really random insults. So I laughed and said, I'm not angry. I'm laughing over that Charlie who's died on your wall. She then goes ape shit, blah, 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 and says, right, do you know what this was over? I said, well, I'd love to hear what it was over because I have no idea at all. And then I said, don't cry that I've said something back to you. If you can't, you can't handle it, don't dish it out. So she tags me on an Instagram post that was almost 7 weeks old, but 6 weeks old, where basically there was a big discussion going on about animal abuse and child abuse. And for an Instagram discussion, it was actually quite mature. And basically, I'd done this post, which was, I said, well, really, I said, anyone who needs to beat their kids to get like a point across, and what's the word? Because they can't control them. I said, it's completely thing. I said, because I've seen kids with autism, kids with Down syndrome, and they can be amazing kids and they've become amazing people and they don't need to be beaten. So you don't need to do that. I said, you need to, I'm not saying you don't need to be stern a bit, there is some really, really bad people who deserve it, but to say that all kids should be hit. And I said, and same with animals. I went, you can have any belief system you want. I said, but anyone who just buys a dog to beat it or a cat to beat, I said, you're just a piece of shit. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So I see this comment that I've put and I'm like, yeah, it's got like 700 likes or something daft on Instagram from weeks ago. I'm like, why has this offended you? You're supposed to be an NHS worker. I said, are you the type who steals off the pensioners or something like that? Why has this bothered you? And she goes, well, this is what bothers me. And then you go way down and a girl says something like this. She goes, oh, what was the point? Oh, yeah, the comment was, she goes, wow, goes to the gym, loves animals and has a picture up cuddling his cat. Take my knickers off now. She goes, that was what I was mad at. I went, okay. I went, one, that's a comment made towards me. Two, have you seen the girl's age? She's 20. And she goes, yes, she's 20. So you're a paedophile. I went, right, okay, this doesn't really make sense. Are you fucking stupid? She's 20. I can fuck anyone over 20. She goes, no, she's a juvenile and a minor. I said, a minor in the UK and a juvenile, when it comes to sex, is under 16. She's none of these things, and she's 4 years over the legal limit. So, you might want to talk crap. I said, just by going on to basically any porn site or any movie, you'll see girls 18 getting naked and topless. So, yeah, you've been a bit deluded here. So, hit me up on what the issue is. She then goes on the tantrum and tags me in the post. The girl actually replies to her and insults her. And then she starts tagging me and she goes on the post and she goes on and on. So I say my bit back to her, basically tell her fuck off, she's an idiot, all this stuff. The other girl tears into her. I think it'd be the end of the day, but no. She sends me a message then asking me to delete it. I completely ignored her because I was going to the gym. She goes, will you delete your comments back to me because they're upsetting me? Ignored her. So I come back and I see her say this. Actually, even though I'm NHS, I work in the prison systems. And you won't be the first guy that I've put in prison who shouldn't be in there. Yeah. She actually states she works for the NHS and makes false accusations against people and gets them put into prison. She goes, I can put people in prison whether they've done a crime or they haven't. She goes, and I'll be making sure everyone's aware that you have done a crime. So I'm going to put a screenshot and the social media of her on because this is a girl and this is why it's serious. I mean, obviously she's talking shit and she's probably not going to do anything. But the reason why this is serious is this. This is a person in a trusted position. This is like... You don't know. You move into a brand new area at home. You know, you've bought a new house. And Billy starts talking to you across the street. You know, and he starts looking into your kid. You know, and you say to your kid, hey, you know, don't talk to strangers. If anything weird happens, you know, you can always talk to your mum and your dad. But your kid's meant to trust a police officer. So you get a scumbag police officer, and you do. There's plenty of them, you can look online, who then, he's got a thing for 6-year-old kids. Boys, girls, whatever, you know, look at that rapist one in Manchester, look at the amount of paedophiles. You know, that is someone who's in a trusted position who is using that way to get to kids and get to people. Just like if someone enjoys abusing animals and they start working at a vet, so not necessarily a vet, but a kennel or something like that, you know, it's an easy way to get in there. A teacher, these are people who are even the worst because they're intelligent. They're not like fucking, they've got mental disorder. They're intelligent enough to know, hey, not only do I have urges, okay, but I'm going to plan these urges out. So this woman is in a position of power where she can abuse people. She can make fake, you know, claims against people. She's an NHS worker for mental health support, but she's then saying, yeah, I'll make false accusations against men. So if she does this, how many people is she really helping? Is she the type of NHS worker? Of course she is. She's the type who abuse people in dementia homes. She's shown she's the type of person who will put an innocent man in prison while letting a bad person walk free because that's who she is. So this is why it is very, very serious. I've attached everything at the end. And I also think that everyone should do complaints to the NHS about her and to the prison system that she's involved with because she should lose her job. Whether she's talking shit or not, it's no different. You know, she's saying I falsely put people in prison. It's no different to if I said, I'm going to try and be a teacher over there because I'm going to get some kids. Whether you've been truthful or not is irrelevant. You've made a really statement that can't be justified, you know. You've got to take it serious because what if that person's really going to do it? So obviously, you know, we need to look at this and, you know, she needs to be put out of her job.